A freelance developer in Toronto named Daniel closed his Upwork account last month. Not because he was retiring. Not because he found a full-time job. Because his last 3 clients told him the same thing, they don't need him anymore. One of them showed him exactly why. A senior engineer at the company had just built in 45 minutes what Daniel quoted 12 hours to complete. The tool he used cost $20 a month. Daniel was charging $150 an hour. That math doesn't work for anyone except the person holding the subscription. Welcome back to Zero Index. What's happening to freelance developers right now is not a gradual shift. It's a collapse with a specific shape, and I spent the last month tracking exactly who's winning, who's losing, and what the numbers actually say about where this is heading. Here's what most people still believe that is no longer true. They think AI coding tools are assistants. Helpful but limited. Good for autocomplete, maybe some boilerplate, but not real engineering work. That was accurate in 2023. It is dangerously wrong in 2026. By March of this year, Cursor hit $2 billion in annualized recurring revenue. That makes it the fastest growing developer tool in history. Faster than GitHub Copilot. Faster than Slack. Faster than anything we've seen in this category. And then Claude Code did something even more aggressive. It went from 0 to $2.5 billion in run rate revenue in 9 months. 9 months. That's not adoption. That's replacement. The economics are so lopsided they almost feel unfair to say out loud. Both tools together cost somewhere between $20 and $40 a month per developer. That's less than a single hour of developer salary in most markets. For a 50-person engineering team, the productivity gain is equivalent to adding 7 to 9 full-time engineers without hiring anyone. No recruiting costs. No onboarding. No benefits. No management overhead. Just output. I want to be precise about this because most people miss it. This isn't about tools making developers slightly faster. This is about a fundamental repricing of what certain kinds of work are worth. And there's a third dimension to this that I'll come back to later, because it changes who actually survives this shift and why. So I pulled the data myself, and what I found surprised me. Engineers using Cursor daily are merging approximately 60% more pull requests than light users. GitHub Copilot users complete 126% more projects per week than developers coding manually. One enterprise deployment to 300 engineers saw code shipment volume increase 28%, with 30 to 40% of that code being AI generated. Let me put that in terms a freelancer understands. Boilerplate generation tasks that used to take 15 to 30 minutes now take 2 to 3 minutes. If you're billing $75 to $200 an hour, and your client realizes that half your hours were boilerplate, they're going to do that math. And they're going to stop calling. 90% of developers now use at least one AI tool at work. Stack Overflow's 2025 measure put it at 84%. This isn't early adopter territory anymore. This is standard operating procedure. The developers who haven't integrated these tools aren't principled holdouts. They're just slower. And clients can tell. Here's where it gets strange. The adoption isn't uniform across experience levels. For jobs with the highest AI exposure, IT and software engineering, employment has declined 6% for workers aged 22 to 25. At the same time, employment has increased 9% for workers aged 35 to 49. Read that again. Junior developer jobs are contracting while senior roles are expanding. The mechanism is brutal but logical. A senior developer with deep systems knowledge and a Claude Code subscription can now do what used to require a senior plus 2 juniors. The junior developers weren't bad at their jobs. Their jobs just got absorbed. The debugging, the documentation, the straightforward feature implementation, all of it now fits inside a conversation between an experienced engineer and an AI. One enterprise team lead I spoke with put it this way, and I need to stop here because most people get this completely wrong. The assumption is that AI replaces the expensive workers first. That's backwards. AI replaces the learnable tasks first. And junior roles were mostly learnable tasks. Senior roles are judgment, architecture, knowing what not to build. That's harder to automate. That's where hiring is actually exploding. This creates a deeply uncomfortable bottleneck. How do you become a senior developer if the junior positions that train you are disappearing? Enterprise customers now account for 60% of Cursor's revenue. Over half of Fortune 500 companies use it as their standard development environment. Claude Code's adoption grew 6 times between April 2025 and January 2026. Financial institutions, defense contractors, healthcare systems, they're not experimenting anymore. They're deploying. And this is where it gets uncomfortable for freelancers specifically. When a mid-sized company needed custom software in 2022, they had 3 options. Hire full-time developers, which is slow and expensive. Contract an agency, which is expensive and sometimes slow. Or hire freelancers, which is flexible but requires management overhead. Now there's a 4th option. Have your existing senior staff do it with AI assistance in a fraction of the time. That 4th option doesn't show up in freelance job postings. It shows up as silence. Fewer RFPs, fewer callbacks. Slower pipelines. Daniel in Toronto didn't lose to another freelancer. He lost to a tool his former client bought for less than what he charged for 1 hour of work. Remember what I said I'd come back to? The 3rd dimension that determines who survives. Here it is. The developers who are thriving right now share one characteristic. They understand systems deeply and see around corners. Not just code. Systems. How pieces connect. What breaks under load. Where the hidden dependencies live. What the client actually needs versus what they asked for. AI can write code. AI can debug code. AI can generate documentation and tests and boilerplate at speeds no human can match. What AI cannot do, at least not yet, is hold the full context of why a system exists, what it needs to become, and what trade-offs are worth making to get there. That's architecture. That's judgment. That's the thing that takes years to develop and cannot be shortcut. I'll be honest, I did not see this coming. I expected AI tools to flatten the skill curve. Instead, they steepened it. The gap between a developer who understands systems and one who just writes code has never been wider. Because now the second developer is competing directly with a $20 subscription. So what does this actually mean? For freelance developers charging premium rates for execution, writing features, fixing bugs, building standard applications, the market is contracting fast. Not because the work disappeared. Because the work got cheaper. And cheaper work eventually gets absorbed by whoever already has access to the client. For freelance developers who position themselves as architects, advisors, or specialists in genuinely complex domains, the market is actually expanding. Companies still need judgment. They need someone who can look at their codebase and tell them what's wrong, not just fix what they point at. They need someone who can design systems that don't collapse under real-world load. That work is worth more than ever because it's the bottleneck. The uncomfortable middle ground is anyone who is charging for execution but calling it strategy. The market is about to expose that gap very quickly. Here's the question I keep coming back to, and I don't have a clean answer. If junior roles are the training ground for senior judgment, and junior roles are disappearing, what does the developer pipeline look like in 5 years? Who becomes the next generation of architects if nobody's learning by doing anymore? That's not a rhetorical question. That's a genuine unknown. And the answer might determine whether this shift is just a market correction or something more fundamental. If you found this useful, subscribe. I'm tracking this closely and there's a lot more coming.